Hello and welcome to my drumming. This is part 12 and today we're going to look at a song called Rockstar by Nickelback. Now, like videos before, we're going to touch on things that we've previously done and move forward with things that we haven't looked at previously at the same time. So one of the things which is good about this song is there's plenty of hi-hat beats coming in. So we've used them before in previous songs, but this is going to be coming in a lot more now with a lot of the patterns that we'll look at. So we'll get straight into it now, going into pattern 1. So pattern 1 is an 8 count with the snare drum coming in on 3 and 7, with only the bass drum coming in on the first beat and the cymbal coming in on the first beat as well. So I'll play it through a couple of times for you now. Pattern 2 is similar, with the snare drum still on the 3 and the 7, the bass drum still on the 1, but the hi-hat now comes in line with the second snare drum beat on beat 7. So I'll play that through a couple of times now. And pattern 3 is identical to pattern 2 but without the hi-hat, so just 2 snare drum beats and 1 bass drum. Pattern 4, identical to pattern 3 but with the hi-hat moved around this time, comes on beat 5. This is how it sounds. Pattern 5 comes in with the open hi-hats on beat 1. Pattern 6 is slightly more complicated because there's a hi-hat beat coming in between beats 4 and 5, so effectively on beat 4.5. There's also a hi-hat on beat 8, so I'll play that through you now slowly. Pattern 7 is similar to pattern 6, but instead of the hi-hat coming in on 4.5, it comes in at the beginning of the count, so it's almost like a half beat before beat 1. So I'll play that through for you now. Now I always play those beats with my left hand just because it's easier to keep counting with your right. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that, just because I find it easier that way. You could do a double fast tap with your right, whichever you prefer. Now pattern 8 is an introduction beat just as it goes into the chorus. So I think this is only played once in the song and this is how it goes. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now pattern 9 comes into the chorus and that's played through 3 times in each chorus. The bass drum beat comes in on 1, it comes in on the 4.5, the 1.5 and 2. So I'll play that through with a cymbal crash on beat 1. repetitive beats, cymbals coming in on 1 and 5, bass drum coming in on 1, 2, 5 and 6, and hi-hats as normal on beats 3 and 7. And this is how it goes. Pattern 11 is the next part of the chorus that's played, and this is normally at the end of the chorus, and this is how this goes. So with pattern 11 there's almost 2 different 8 counts, with cymbals and bass drums coming on the 1 and the 5, and then the second part of pattern 11 the bass drums come on 1, 2.5, 4, 6, and then there's an open hi-hat on beat 8 of the second half. Pattern 12 is a really simple, just 3 count. It's just to introduce the next part of the song on the hi-hat. 3 beats, comes in on 2.5, 3 and 4. So just 1, 2. Simple as that. Pattern 13 is in the middle of the song, and that is a number of bars added together. It's not one that can easily be played with me saying here is all the bass drum beats on these numbers. It's one of the ones like in previous songs like the Pink song, and also I think on Foo Fighters, where we just play it through. So I'll play pattern 13 for you now so you can see how that goes. Pattern 14 is after the final rest in the song, and that is a rest on beat 1, then a triplet, but only 2 parts of the triplet for beat 2. So instead of a 1, 2, 3 for the triplet, it's just 1, rest, 3. So instead of da da da, it's like da da. It makes sense when I play the hi-hat with it. So it's the 2-part triplet on beat 2, 1 hi-hat beat on beat 3, on beat 3.5 is the bass drum, and then a quaver on the snare drum. Sounds like this. And then the final beat in the song is part 15, which is very similar to the previous part that we played. I think it was part 11, I'll just check that now. Yeah, part 11. So part 15, the only difference between that and part 11 is there's just a couple of hi-hats at the end rather than cymbal crashes, and it goes like this. Okay, that's all the parts, whipped through fairly quickly because there's 15 of them. We'll now put the whole thing together and play the whole song through for you. This is Rockstar by Nickelback. you played along. Hope you enjoyed listening to it. Hope you learned some things. As ever, any questions, please shout, and I'll see you again in the next part. Cheers. Bye-bye.